Okay, I'm out here with the 318 project. In real time, the motor is still sitting there. The starter's here, waiting to put that in someday. This is the deck. Okay, working on the John Deere 318. It's got the 50-inch deck on it, and I'm going to rebuild these spindles with new bearings and stuff. And so I used my mini impact. Got that off. This one actually came off real easy. You have to take that off. Then you've got your key there. Sometimes these fight you, sometimes they don't. I'm trying to just grip on it and lift it out, and then I'll just take some sandpaper and get those little grip marks later on that I just made on there. And then this will have to be taken to the press. Now the next one is the one with the big pulley. I got the nut off already, and this takes the power from the machine and gives it to the other pulleys. But the most challenging of all is going to be this one. I've already tried to break some of that rust loose in there. It looks like this nut is just a continuous nut that goes quite a ways down. This was the side pulley, the right side. I think they had a power flow bagger on it, and this would have ran the power flow bagger from the regular pulley. Well, this nut is way down there, and there's rust in between it and this that I've already started knocking a whole lot out of, and I'm not sure that that thing really wants to move. Now, you don't want to get too aggressive with as far as pounding these out. I'm going to try with the soft face dead blow hammer. And it looks like actually these pulleys are all one, so it's going to take a little bit of force to get that all pushed through. This one's going to need a little work. Okay, so I was able to get the nut out of the last one, which was that one. This nut I got off easily, but of course the pulleys are pretty stuck on there, so I'm going to try to just press those through, see if that works. So here's the press I'm using. I just made a little triangle piece out of some 2x4s because that's what I had to make something big enough, and then I started with just the press plate raw, went down all the way till it was flat. Now I put a bolt in there, and I'll see if I can drive the rest of this pulley through, or the mandrel or shaft. Okay, then once you got your pulleys off and everything, you'll have two bearings, one in the top, one at the bottom. I've got this one almost all the way out, but basically what you do is you go in from one side with something like a bolt or a pin, put it on a little bit of an angle, and you try to catch the bottom bearing. You pound on that, the bottom bearing will fall out. Then this spacer will be caught in the grease. That's important to keep that and not mangle that. Get that out, clean that out, and the inside will just look like, you'll see the other bearing, you'll see a ring retaining it, and you'll see another ring on this side retaining it. And you got to just pry that ring off and pound the bearing up. Okay, so what I had to do on mine is get beside it, pry it inward. Oh, and it just went right back in the hole. Okay, pry it inward a little bit, get the other screwdriver behind it to hold it out, and then re-grab with the bigger one, but it keeps slipping in. Anyway, that's the idea. You get one end and you walk it around. So those are the ring ends you were working with. So I got that one a little rounded off, but no harm done. Now the bearing's just sitting in there. Let's push it out the closest end. You probably could have taken out the inner thing, but then you'd have had to push the bearing up through the whole thing. So let's push it out. Let's see if I can do it without the press. Yeah. Then you can see that inner ring now is still in there along with the grease. Alright, now as far as the bearings, you get your new bearing. The main thing you don't want to do is you don't want to push from the inside. That makes it go through the balls. It can distort the balls. It can distort the little cage in there if it has one. It'll break it. You want to have something that's almost as wide as the bearing. And what I found to work is a socket. In this case, it happens to be 1.25 inches. Yours may have a different outside diameter. Don't know. You could press them in, hammer them in, whatever. Just go till it hits that retaining ring, and you know you're home. Okay, so that one's all the way down, and we could also verify that because we could see our ring all the way around, except for where the grease is still there, which I should have cleaned out previously. Alright, I'm going to attempt to get this snap ring back on. I'm going to just start it in one position and see how this goes. Get it down in the groove. There we go. A little more at the end here. There we go. Snapped in nice and good. And you could try to spin it a little bit to make sure it's there, but I heard that one snap in, so we're good. Then we got to put in the spacer, which I also should have previously cleaned. The reason the spacer's here is so when you tighten down that blade, this spacer is hitting the inner race here, the inner race on the other bearing, and it can't compress anymore. If you forgot to put that in there, the more you tighten up your blade or the top spindle, the more they're going to crush in, and they'll just never be able to be tightened. Alright, and then I'm going to use the press because I got one, but if not, like I said, the socket and the hammer trick would probably work just fine. And actually, I wasn't ready to put that down yet. What I like to do first is, these bearings are sealed bearings. It's not designed to accept any grease. But I like to fill it up with grease anyway, the whole entire thing. And two reasons. One, if the bottom bearing was getting hot, I guarantee you it would get hot enough and some of that grease would be able to leak down in there. And two, for corrosion control, so you could replace these again. Okay, so I just filled it up 100%, not the center, but around that center thing. And then now that bearing's ready to go in. This one I was able to just drive that in fairly easily. So I just used the hand driver, just put the socket on there, hit it till it stops. And I'm going to get whatever grease squished out into the middle, out of there. This isn't necessary to be in there. And as far as the bushing, that'll center itself. When you go to put the shaft in, you might have to move it a little left, a little right. You might have to pry it over a little bit. But that's basically brand new again. And then as far as like cleaning up stuff like this, this is, the blade would go on this side. Just clean out this little groove here. A lot of times there's a lot of stuff that's been spinning around on your blade for years and years. Just get that clear again. Okay, so now we can see that part's cleaned out, and this part here, it actually goes over that just a hair, so you do need that clean, otherwise you'll probably just create a bunch of heat. If you had a bunch of friction between the bottom surface of that and this, or the sides, inside, outside, whatever, that'd be a problem. So then we'll just center up that piece like in the middle, like I was saying, and I've just pushed out my top bearing while I was doing it. That bearing isn't in there very well. This one's about through right now. Let's see. It's getting to the end right now, so I'll have to set this on something to hold that. And I don't want to hit this because that's where your blade bolt goes. So I'll get another socket to go around. Alright, we got it all the way through. Now I want to put my key back in there. You could just put another key, but those little booger marks that I made on there earlier, just take them and kind of just take off the high spots so it goes in decently. I got a file here, just rubbing it on that. It's pretty hardened metal, but you could get it. See if that wants to go back in its little hole. By the way, these are the half moon shaped ones, Woodruff keys they call them, I believe. Get that down there. That keyway goes in that slot, obviously. And this was facing down before. This was the nut side. It's another important thing. The height of the pulley, it'll be offset one way or the other. Oftentimes it is. And then we'll just tighten that nut down. The best way is with an impact driver. That way you don't have to hold much with the other end. Okay, I zipped the nut back on with an impact. What that does is that makes sure that you got all your stuff aligned right. You know, it sucks the one bearing up to the other, captures it with the nut. So it basically, this is one side, the nut is the other. So you're collapsing it all in, and if things haven't moved, you could even have looked on this when you first took it apart how many threads you had. These are special locking threads. If you look, they have the little minus sign there. These are, you don't need a lock nut here. These are locking, self-locking nuts. They're made to bind up on the threads of the shaft. So there we go. We got absolutely zero play. Spins nicely, and that's on almost any John Deere. This one has the 3-bolt pattern, but they're just about the same on every one I've ever seen. Now this is a little bonus. It's not necessary, but as you saw when I pounded in the shaft from the bottom side, this bearing really isn't retained very well. There's supposed to be a pounded in pressed fit, and that one kind of is looser than it should be. So I'm going to show you how to correct that. This is cast iron, so we can't work it like regular steel, but it's somewhat malleable. Well, one of the ways that could have got hogged out is if one of the bearings previous to the one I just did, which was still spinning, if one of them was locked up on that shaft and just kept going. These tractors have a lot of horsepower, and they will spin that whole thing if they can get it. What I'm going to do is try to ever so slightly take the top edge of that metal and just make it go in a little bit. I'm going to first try with an automatic center punch. Just go along the edge in a couple places and just see if I can get that to retain that bearing just a little tighter. Okay, I think that accomplished what I needed. I don't know if you can look very carefully here. You can see I went around and did like a couple dozen, and now it seems like it's really got it a lot more firm. All that's doing is you're just displacing the metal near the edge like this, and it's just moving the metal out of the way, so some of it's going in toward the bearing. Just retains it a little better, just so it never would spin. Just another additional tip. So this is the one when I was taking it apart, it had all that netting or garden netting or whatever it was wrapped around it. These get wrapped around down here, and they keep going around and around and around. And when it's this one, I've already started pressing it out a little bit, but that's basically over this. Any little piece that gets going on there keeps going around and around, and it starts getting hot. And when it gets hot, the grease runs out of the bearings, even though they're sealed bearings, as I said before. And one way you can tell if you got no grease in the bearings is if it spins free like that. If it just keeps going, there is no grease in those bearings. They're growling just a hair. They're not really, yeah, it's got a little play. But if they just keep spinning like that, you can tell there's no grease going around with those bearings. If there was, it would stop much quicker than that. For example, that's the new bearings with their proper grease. So, just a little tip, if you ever see something wrapped along there, you're going to shorten the life of those bearings real bad.